It is time for the Sunday Roundtable, and by the way, this is the last roundtable we're going to have before the eclipse, so this has to be spot on here. This morning we're joined by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Ginny Buckingham. It's great to have you with us, guys. Mike Rogers sat in the chair this morning. He had some tough things to say because obviously the position he's in, the impact of the shelter emergency hitting the State House, they're hitting it hard. What struck you the most, Marianne?
Well, when he's asked about the migrant issue and shelters, he put the blame exactly where it belongs, on the federal government in Washington, where nobody's coming to help anybody if you're in a city or a state in this country. And that's wrong. Sadly, I don't think that's going to change before the election because it's just too good an issue for the Republicans.
Jenny, what do you think?
Just the value of experience. He's been at the State House through good times and through bad times. And he knows the sky is not falling, as the progressives are saying. He knows spending isn't out of control yet, like the Republicans are saying. Right. So it's kind of a steady hand, and that's what we need right now.
Well, the fiscal crisis is testing Governor Healey. She announced a hiring freeze. She's not calling it that. She's calling it hiring controls. And she did so even though the state revenues were up in March for the first time in a long time. Does this indicate that the road ahead is looking pretty bumpy? Ginny?
I mean, this is where governing meets politics. You know, she ran a campaign and in her first State of the Commonwealth laid out a lot of spending proposals. And now she knows she's going to have to also make some tough decisions. It's part of the job. So far, so good.
Marianne?
Well, temporarily halting hiring is like the most common pump the brake moment. So doesn't say it's going to be forever, doesn't going to say it's going to be more, could end tomorrow, who knows, and that's the right thing to do. I thought Kim Driscoll actually had the best quote, which is, we hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And that's the responsible thing to do. So they'll do this now, see how revenues look. Remember, like they dropped $2.2 billion last April. And that upended everything. So I think they're taking the right approach.
And don't listen, I'm sorry, but don't listen to the progressives who say, oh, the $1 billion tax cut was so much and now it's cutting all the programs. That's ridiculous.
Well,
the money belongs with the taxpayers.
To that point, so the Mass GOP has criticized the governor for expanding state government and pumping up this, giving her cabinet $15,000 raises. And they're encouraging her to force them to give them back. They make more than $196,000 a year. Do you think the governor's sending mixed messages here?
So let's go back to the Baker administration. When Charlie Baker was governor, he did buyouts. Hundreds of people, 900, 1,000 people took buyouts. Then there were cuts, and he went down to the bone. Cut. It's all 8 years. So what happens? Maura Healey gets into office, and it's a bare-bone government. And she sees all the problems that were left in Pandora's box and all the promises she made. So look at the T when she was on the show. Like, how do you run the T when you're short 1,100 people? So you have to hire all those people back to get all of these problems fixed, keep your promises, and go forward.
Created new secretariats, however, as well.
Well, because look at all the things we didn't know about until she got into office, and that tells you everything.
Yep, Ginny?
We won't know if she's going to govern like Charlie Baker governed. That's what she ran on. That's what she claimed to do, a moderate on fiscal policy, more progressive on social issues. Now she's being tested, so let's see if that's real or not.
We're a long way from the days of those rebate checks, that's for sure.
Right. Good point by you. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley announced her re-election campaign last week, seeking a fourth term, one of the most progressive members of the House in this volatile election year with issues like reproductive rights, focus for Democrats. Is the party moving closer to her vision, Ginny? What do you think?
God, let's hope not. She is running because she has an eye on another seat. She's not running to represent her district or Massachusetts. She's always been ambitious. Good for her. We'll see if her
and that
district,
other seat would be?
Well, let's just say a Senate seat that may or may not come open sometime.
Gotcha.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's not all that relevant that she's running for her congressional seat. She doesn't care about it.
Marianne?
Well, I mean, she's targeted because of her position on Israel, which, given the developments of the last week, seems a little prescient in terms of a ceasefire, pulling back on some of the weapons if Bibi Netanyahu doesn't get, on top of all this, where you're either incompetent or these are intentional attacks. The World Kitchen, that was an assassination. That was a war crime. That was not a mistake.
It was a mistake, and she should be ashamed of her position on Israel. From the beginning, she has stood by those opposed to Israel's existence.
And more people, including the Biden administration, are really putting a leash on Bibi Netanyahu, as they should. There is no excuse for anything he did before October 7th, on October 7th, after October 7th. Over 200 aid workers have been killed. So you are either doing this intentionally or you are incompetent. Those are the choices.
Will this have will it have a divide in the presidential race, do you think?
It already started to. I mean, the younger Democrats, younger progressives definitely were on this side. But Bibi Netanyahu he's looking out for himself, not Israel. And boy, oh boy, for the United States of America and a president of the United States to say to the Prime Minister of Israel, unless you meet these steps, we may have to take some things back. That has never happened.
And it will be one of the worst moments in Biden's presidency, that call he made and those remarks he made. Israel is our ally in a region where we need them
Not
to
under
be
Bibi Netanyahu.
secure. Let's see if he follows up with taking weapons away, which would be abhorrent. But so far, Biden is kowtowing to the Ayanna Presleys in his party, and it's a mistake.
How can Bibi Netanyahu needs to go? There needs to be elections, and hello, Benny Gantz, because Bibi Netanyahu's like Putin, only killing civilians, and by the way, just like Trump, trying to stay in office so he's not held accountable. That is the problem.
And Biden's army destroyed civilians in Kabul.
Why are you letting Bibi Netanyahu off the hook?
I'm not, but Biden
you
is
are.
demagoguing.
Why
it is wrong.
are you letting him off the hook?
I'm supporting Israel, as we all should.
It shouldn't be a blanket thing.
I guess we'll just have to see how it works out and whether or not, what unfolds in the coming days and what actually transpires.